Hi, Powershell community, and welcome our guest today, Emanuel. He's one of the 40+ speakers of the upcoming Powershell Conference Europe, which takes place in the beautiful country of Austria. Emanuel, thank you very much for your time. Would you please introduce yourself to the community so we get a better idea of who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. My name is Emanuel Palm. I am a consultant by day. I work a lot with PowerShell and Azure and have been working with PowerShell since probably 2016 or so not too many years based on the amount of years on the stage at the PowerShell conference, probably. But before that, I studied game development, and I have a background within C# and a bit of C++, and so I come more from the developer perspective, you could say. Okay. And yeah, I think that's probably what I do.
Okay, so let's talk about your sessions. What I've seen on the schedule, you have two sessions. Yep. One is creating your own PSGallery with Azure artifacts, and the second one is Push-OutputBinding anything, custom bindings for Azure functions. Would you please tell us a little bit about your sessions and why should the attendees see and go into your sessions?
Yeah, so they're both a little bit related in a way. You can create, of course, PowerShell modules if you work with PowerShell, and those, if you want to share them, you can give them to your coworkers. They can be, a PS M1 file or a compiled module, but you can also push them to the PowerShell gallery if you want the community to take part of your work, and that's how most modules are stored. But if you have maybe a team or an organization that use a lot of PowerShell module, maybe PowerShell is a widespread tool, then you could be building these internal modules for on-prem systems or anything that only your organization should be taking part of, and you can host these in your own PowerShell galleries. Those could be on-prem. It's basically a NuGet feed, but I will be showing how you can do that in Azure Artifacts, which is part of the Azure DevOps suite.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah. So if you're interested in basically setting up your own PowerShell gallery and sharing that with coworkers or your team or anything, then that is what we will be doing with a somewhat hands-on session, I would say. And the other one, as you said, is called Push-OutputBinding anything, which is the command used in Azure functions to push something to an output binding. And we will be looking at creating our own bindings for Azure functions. Okay. And that is basically a small component that lets you talk with an external service or API or something. There are some, you can call them built-in function extensions that are function bindings. So you can talk with an Azure blob storage, a table storage. You can send emails to SendGrid, stuff like that. And if you want your function to talk to other maybe APIs or such, then you generally build some type of invoke REST method, maybe API calls. But you could also build your own Azure Functions extensions in C# and build a small component similar to a PowerShell module, but for Azure Functions, which will be language agnostic and let anyone writing Azure Functions in Python, Java, PowerShell, C#, anything, speak to your API in the way that you built the function, the extension, the binding.
Wow. Okay. Sounds very interesting and very much high professional or high intense session. So nothing to sit in and relax. So really to work and to listen to your words. To understand.
That one will be a little bit more advanced. Yeah, it's a little bit more advanced, but it's something that I haven't seen a lot of people do. Microsoft have some examples online for their own service bus bindings and such, but I think it's a tool that can fit into any PowerShell developers toolbox, especially if they have a little bit of comfort in C# or looking at other languages.
Okay, sounds interesting. You already mentioned that you did game designing in your past? I already saw this on your LinkedIn, and this is one of my questions that really was interesting. How can we think about your daily business as a game designer? Or tell us a little bit about that thing in your past.
I studied game design for 3 years. 70% of the program was design, which is the theoretical. How do you like build a game? What are the components of this? What are the mechanics, and how should the player act? And 30% was the programming part, which I had, that's what I have been always loving to do, writing code in one way or another. And that's what I kept doing. But after my studies, I decided not to work with games. I enjoyed them as a hobby a lot, but I decided to pursue a career in the IT industry instead. And that's a year later, I found PowerShell and haven't really looked back.
So from game design to PowerShell love. Okay.
Yeah, you could say. But there are, similarities where you get to see user perspective if you work with end users or such in a way that is similar to the game perspective where you have a player. Everything is an interface to whatever you're building in a way. So you need to make sure that the end user will be able to do that in a reasonable manner sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. But you completely stopped game designing. It's not your hobby anymore or anything.
Yeah, you could say I stopped digitally writing games. I did, but I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons instead, which is a board game kind of role playing game where I have my own world with my friends and nerdy thing where I try to incorporate some of the tech interest as well.
Okay. So the PowerShell conference will take place in Austria. Have you been in Austria before? Or will it be your first time?
It will be my first real time, so to speak. I was on I slept there in an Airbnb a few years back on the way southernward towards Slovenia, where I went with my friends once. But it will be my first visit. Yeah, very excited. It's a beautiful scenery passing through, so I'm excited to visit some more of the actual country.
So when you think about Austria, what is typical in your opinion for Austria?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm a little bit biased based on my journey there so far. I saw a lot of beautiful scenery with the mountains in the southern part there, and I think that's my probably first picture looking back.
Okay. Have you plans to stay long in Austria or just for the conference, fly to Austria and fly back home?
I haven't decided yet, actually. I'm looking at the possibility maybe to stay a little bit longer, but we will see if there's some exciting things to do or some other friends or something.
So you already haven't booked your flight and something, so you didn't plan anything right now for Vienna, Austria?
Not directly, no. I've been looking a little bit, but I haven't booked yet.
Anything special you're looking forward to see in Austria, in Vienna? Unfortunately, when you stay in Vienna, you will not see that much mountains and
that
the
is
scenery.
True. Yeah.
But anything you're looking forward to see or do in Austria?
I think seeing the city a little bit more, Vienna overall.
Vienna,
it's always nice to visit another country's capital and see all these other parts of the world. See architecture that you're not maybe used to, some history and some stuff like that, I think. But I'm sure there will be plenty of good food and great people to meet and have conversations with. That's really exciting.
Okay. What I've also seen on your LinkedIn page, and that's really interesting, you've been 3 years in music theory and composition. And the description is music theory and music production with IT. I think it's a little bit related to your game design part, but tell us a little bit about this. How can we imagine this?
So
what are you
this was high school. It was in Sweden. You get to choose your own program, kind of. I'm not sure how other countries do it, but we have 3 years of high school where we choose our own program. And this was a school called rock high school, kind of, where we had a lot of rock, metal high school kids, and there was this video production and audio production and kind of focus where you did things digitally, and we had some flash game programming in some lessons with some coding, and that's kind of where I found my interest for the first small games, and then I kind of pursued that instead. But I did play drums for a few years there. Yeah.
Okay.
Not anymore though.
Not anymore. So you stopped playing drums also?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything PowerShell.
You could say everything code.
Everything code. Okay. So the last question for today: what is your favorite PowerShell commandlet and your favorite PowerShell module?
Ooh, now that's a good question. Favorite command might be either get help or get command, because that's so flexible. You can install any module, you run get command on that module, and you figure out how it does pretty much immediately. Get help as a combination will just let you figure everything out. As for my favorite module, that's a very tricky question.
Or maybe this one you're using on a regular basis.
I use, let's see, what do I use on a regular basis? It depends a little bit, but I do like the modules that help you build modules. So stuff like module builder and invoke build, those type of modules, and PSGallery is something that me and my coworkers use a lot for markdown external help. Pester, of course, might be another one. Yeah, so those type of modules are probably my favorite ones that give you the tools to make great tools,
Okay.
Yeah.
Emanuel, thank you very much for your time. Any last words to the PSConf community?
If you're interested in seeing my sessions, you can also find out what I write about on pipe.how. It's pipe.how, my blog, where I write a lot about PowerShell and .NET tech stuff.
Okay. I will post it in the description when we post the video, so everyone can see your blog. Emanuel, thank you very much for your time. Really looking forward to meet you in real person in June.
Likewise.
And thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye.